Seed now, bloom in spring. 12 perennials under $10, Zones 3009. Hello friends and welcome back to Earthly Delights, the place where soil meets soul and where your garden dreams start to grow. If you've been longing for a way to brighten your yard or even a few pots on your patio without spending a fortune, you are in the right place. I know many of you watching are busy people. Some of you are parents juggling family life. Others are new gardeners still figuring out how not to accidentally overwater your plants. And many of you are seasoned green thumbs looking for fresh inspiration on a budget. What unites us is that we all crave more beauty, more calm, and a deeper connection to nature, right where we live. Today I'm going to let you in on a gardener's secret. If you sow the right seeds now while the days are cooling down, you'll be rewarded with a garden bursting with color in spring. And here's the best part. Every single perennial we'll talk about costs under $10. So you don't have to break the bank to create a space that feeds your spirit and delights your senses. From flowers that attract bees and butterflies, to tough-as-nails survivors, to blooms that turn shady corners into storybook scenes. You're about to discover them all. So grab your cup of tea, settle in, and let's explore the magic that starts small but grows into something unforgettable. And before we dig in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chance to bring more earthly delights into your home and garden. Part 1. Why plant perennials from seed now? Let's pause for a moment and talk about why planting perennials from seed right now is one of the smartest moves you can make as a gardener. Think of it this way. While the world is slowing down for winter, nature is quietly working beneath the soil. Seeds sown in fall have the gift of time. They settle in, send down roots, and rest through the cold months. By the time spring rolls around, these plants are already established, ready to burst into growth with a strength you simply can't buy from store-bought starts. This is especially true for gardeners like you, those who want results that last, not just a season of color. Maybe you're working with a small backyard or even a few containers on a balcony, but you still dream of a space that feels alive with blooms and buzzing pollinators. Or maybe you're a thrifty gardener who wants to stretch every dollar and still fill your beds with perennials that return year after year. Planting now means your garden wakes up ahead of schedule, stronger and more resilient, with deep roots that can handle whatever spring weather throws its way. So as we step into this journey together, keep this in mind. The patience you show today will reward you many times over when your garden greets you with early blooms, thriving plants, and the joy of knowing you made it happen from seed. Shall we meet the first stars of this under $10 lineup? Part 2. Pollinator and wildlife favorites. Now let's step into the heart of the garden, the flowers that don't just bloom for us, but for the life all around us. These are the perennials under $10 that turn your space into a haven for bees, butterflies, and even hummingbirds. Plant them now, and by spring, your garden will hum with energy, color, and joyful movement. 1. Coneflowers, Echinacea. If there's one plant that embodies resilience and beauty, it's the coneflower. Picture this, wide daisy-like petals radiating around a bold, spiky center, standing tall and proud in your garden. These flowers are more than just eye-catching. They're magnets for pollinators. Bees adore their open faces. Butterflies sip their nectar like fine wine. And in late summer, goldfinches feast on the seed heads. For under $10, you're not just buying a plant. You're investing in a community of life. What makes coneflowers so perfect for gardeners like you is their ability to thrive with little fuss. Whether you're a busy parent squeezing gardening in between daily chores, or someone new to planting who worries about making mistakes, Echinacea forgives you. They tolerate drought, poor soil, and come back stronger every year, often multiplying to fill more space than you planned. And here's a secret. Leave the dried seed heads standing through fall and winter. They add sculptural beauty to your beds and give birds a natural snack bar when food is scarce. Plant them now, and come spring, your garden will not only burst with color, but also buzz with gratitude from every winged visitor. 2. Black-eyed Susans, Rudbeckia. Few flowers capture the feeling of summer joy quite like black-eyed Susans. With their golden yellow petals surrounding a deep, dark center, they glow like little suns scattered across the garden. And the best part? These cheerful blooms are as affordable as they are dependable, often costing less than a takeout coffee. For gardeners in zones 3 through 9, they're practically a must-have, hardy, adaptable, and eager to return year after year. Pollinators absolutely love them. Butterflies float from flower to flower, bees dive headfirst into their golden centers, and later in the season, birds flock to the ripened seed heads. This is the kind of plant that makes your garden feel alive, full of movement and sound. And for busy gardeners, they're a gift. Once established, they ask for very little care. A bit of sunshine, some well-drained soil, and they'll reward you with weeks upon weeks of vibrant blooms. Even better, black-eyed Susans have a way of spreading happiness. They reseed generously, popping up in unexpected corners of your yard, as if nature herself is helping you design your space. Plant them now, and by spring you'll have a carpet of golden joy waiting to greet you. 3. Bee Balm. Monarda. Now, if you've ever wanted a flower that feels like pure fireworks in the garden, Bee Balm is your answer. With its spiky, vibrant blooms in shades of red, pink, and purple, it doesn't just decorate your yard, it transforms it into a lively stage. Hummingbirds zoom in like tiny helicopters. Bees buzz tirelessly, and butterflies flutter from one bloom to the next. For under $10, you're creating a pollinator paradise right at your doorstep. What makes Bee Balm so special for gardeners like you is that it thrives in the spaces where you want both beauty and purpose. It's not just a pretty face, it's a powerhouse plant that supports the entire ecosystem. And the fragrance? Crush a leaf between your fingers, and you'll get a fresh, minty aroma that reminds you of summer evenings and herbal teas. Bee Balm also rewards patience and care with a long-lasting show. It flourishes in full sun, but it can handle partial shade, making it flexible for different garden spots. And once it takes root, it spreads generously, filling empty corners with its joyful energy. Plant it now, and by spring your garden will be alive with color, scent, and the dazzling dance of pollinators who can't resist its charm. Part 3. Cottage Garden Charmers. Let's step into the dreamy world of cottage gardens, where flowers spill over each other in a joyful, colorful mix. These perennials under $10 bring that storybook charm to your space. Soft petals, timeless shapes, and a touch of nostalgia. Plant them now, and by spring, your garden will feel like a painting come to life. Or Shasta Daisy. Few flowers say classic garden quite like the Shasta Daisy. With their crisp white petals and sunny yellow centers, they shine like cheerful faces scattered across the landscape. Affordable and timeless, these beauties bring instant brightness wherever they grow, whether it's a garden bed, a border, or even a simple pot on your patio. For under $10, you're planting a flower that feels both elegant and familiar, like an old friend who never fails to bring a smile. What makes Shasta daisies so beloved is their resilience. They thrive in full sun, adapt well to a range of soils, and once established, they return year after year with very little fuss. For busy gardeners or those just starting out, they're a low-stress way to add long-lasting charm. Their blooms also last a long time when cut, making them perfect for bringing that fresh garden look inside your home. And here's the magic: they bloom in abundance. A cluster of Shasta daisies looks like a little constellation in the garden, glowing brightly against green foliage. Plant them now, let them establish their roots through the cool months, and by spring you'll have a sea of joyful white and yellow that makes your garden feel like a storybook cottage scene. 5. Coreopsis. If you're looking for a flower that radiates pure sunshine, Coreopsis is the one to choose. Known as tick seed, this perennial produces a profusion of golden blooms that seem to dance in the breeze, lighting up any garden corner with warmth and cheer. For less than $10, you get a plant that doesn't just bloom, it celebrates, covering itself with flowers from early summer straight through fall. It's like having a never-ending burst of joy right outside your door. Coreopsis is especially loved by gardeners who crave effortless beauty. It thrives in poor soils, laughs at drought, and doesn't demand constant attention. For anyone with a busy schedule or limited gardening time, this is a flower that happily takes care of itself while giving back in spades. Its blooms attract bees and butterflies, making it a pollinator favorite. And its fine, airy foliage adds a delicate texture that complements other cottage garden favorites. Even better, Coreopsis reseeds generously, often popping up in unexpected spots the following year. It's like a little gift from the garden, reminding you that beauty can be both abundant and affordable. Plant it now, let it settle in over the cooler months, and by spring you'll be greeted with a golden glow that makes your space feel alive with light and laughter. 6. Lupins. Lupines are the true showstoppers of the cottage garden, rising in tall spires covered with vibrant clusters of flowers in shades of purple, pink, blue, and even yellow. For under $10, you can add a plant that instantly brings drama and elegance to your garden. Their vertical form breaks up the horizontal lines of beds and borders, adding structure and height that make the whole space feel more alive and layered. What makes lupine so irresistible is their ability to look both wild and refined at the same time. They carry the charm of meadows and woodland edges, yet when planted in a row or cluster, they look like they were chosen by a careful garden designer. Pollinators adore them too. Bees often line up along the spires, moving from flower to flower, as if they've discovered a buffet made just for them. Lupines also enrich the soil by fixing nitrogen, which means they help other plants around them thrive. They're not only beautiful but also hardworking partners in your garden's ecosystem. Plant them now, give their roots time to establish, and when spring arrives, those tall, colorful towers will make you stop and stare. They remind us that even in a simple garden, there's always room for a touch of grandeur. Part 4. Low-maintenance survivors. Not every gardener has hours to fuss over plants, and that's where these hardy heroes shine. For under $10, you can grow perennials that thrive on neglect, tough enough for heat, drought, and poor soil, yet generous with color and texture. Plant them now, and by spring, they'll reward you with effortless beauty season after season. 7. Sedum stonecrop. Sedum, often called stonecrop, is one of those plants that quietly proves you don't need to spend a fortune or endless hours of care to enjoy beauty in your garden. With thick, fleshy leaves that store water, sedum is built for survival. It shrugs off drought, thrives in rocky or poor soil, and still manages to put on a show of star-shaped flowers that attract bees and butterflies. For under $10, you're getting a plant that's as tough as it is lovely. What makes sedum so appealing is its versatility. It works equally well tucked into rock gardens, spread as ground cover, or even spilling from containers on your patio. Its foliage comes in an array of colors, greens, blues, even purples, that add interest long before the flowers bloom. And when those clusters of blooms appear in late summer, they become a magnet for pollinators, filling your garden with life at a time when many other plants start to fade. For gardeners who are short on time, sedum is a trusted ally. It practically takes care of itself, asking only for a sunny spot and good drainage. Plant it now, let its roots anchor through winter, and when spring rolls around, you'll be greeted by a plant that thrives on resilience, reminding you that even the simplest choices can bring lasting joy. 8. Yarrow. Yarrow is one of those timeless plants that gardeners keep coming back to, and for good reason. Its fern-like foliage is soft to the touch, and its flat clusters of tiny flowers in shades of yellow, pink, red, or white add both color and texture to any space. For less than $10, yarrow brings a rustic charm to the garden while standing as one of the toughest perennials you can grow. It's a flower that feels right at home in wild meadows, cottage borders, or even alongside vegetables as a companion plant. What sets yarrow apart is its resilience. It laughs at poor soil, thrives in full sun, and handles drought without complaint. Once it's established, it needs very little care, making it perfect for busy gardeners or anyone who wants beauty without fuss. Its blooms also last a long time, both in the garden and in vases, which means you can cut a few stems to bring indoors and still enjoy weeks of color outside. And let's not forget the pollinators. Bees and butterflies flock to yarrow's wide flower heads, while its aromatic leaves deter some pests, helping the plants around it. Plant it now, let it settle through the cooler months, and come spring you'll have a plant that not only blooms beautifully, but also works quietly behind the scenes, keeping your garden vibrant and balanced. 9. Blanket flower, Gaillardia. Blanket flowers, also known as Gaillardia, are like little bursts of sunshine wrapped in fiery shades of red, orange, and yellow. Their petals often look as though they've been dipped in flame, creating a glowing effect that brightens any better border. For under $10, this perennial delivers months of nonstop color, often blooming from early summer well into fall. They're the kind of flowers that make neighbors stop and ask, "What are those?" What makes Gaillardia so beloved is its sheer toughness. These plants thrive in heat, tolerate drought, and don't demand rich soil to perform. They're perfect for gardeners who want bold color without constant maintenance. Once planted, they flourish in sunny spots and repay you with an extended season of vibrant blooms. Even as the flowers fade, their seed heads add texture and interest, and they'll often reseed themselves, giving you a surprise encore the following year. Pollinators adore them too. Bees and butterflies are frequent visitors, drawn to the rich nectar these blooms provide. And for you, the gardener, blanket flowers offer not just beauty, but also reliability. Plant them now, give them the winter to root deeply, and when spring arrives, you'll be rewarded with a carpet of fiery color that seems to glow with joy and resilience. Part 5, Shade and Partial Shade Allies. Not every corner of your garden basks in full sun, and that's where these next perennials shine. For under $10, you can bring bursts of color and charm into those cooler, dimmer spots that often feel forgotten. Plant them now, and by spring, you'll see how even the shadiest corners can come alive with beauty and grace. 10. Columbine Aquilegia. Columbine is one of those flowers that feels almost magical, with its delicate, lantern-like blooms in shades of blue, purple, red, pink, and white. Each flower looks like a tiny work of art, with spurred petals that seem to dance in the breeze. For under $10, you can add a plant that transforms shady corners into enchanting hideaways. Perfect for anyone who dreams of a garden that feels a little whimsical and storybook-like. What makes Columbine so endearing is how effortlessly it adapts to partial shade, where many other flowers might struggle. It thrives in cooler spots, adding splashes of color just when your garden needs it most, typically in late spring to early summer. Hummingbirds adore its nectar-rich blooms, and bees often stop by too, making it as beneficial as it is beautiful. For gardeners with busy schedules, Columbine is refreshingly easygoing. Once established, it reseeds itself freely, often popping up in new places year after year, as if it's scattering bits of magic around your yard. Plant it now, allow its roots to nestle in before the cold sets in, and by spring, you'll be greeted with flowers that seem to appear like a gentle surprise, reminding you that even the quietest corners of a garden can hold the most delightful treasures. 11. Foxglove digitalis. Foxgloves are the true fairy tale flowers of the garden, with tall spires covered in bell-shaped blooms that look like they belong in an enchanted forest. Available in soft pastels of pink, lavender, cream, and sometimes deep, dramatic purples, they add instant drama and elegance for less than $10. If you've ever dreamed of transforming a shady nook into a magical scene, foxglove is the plant that makes it happen. What makes foxgloves remarkable is their ability to thrive in partial shade, where many bold flowers hesitate. Their towering presence creates vertical accents that draw the eye upward, adding depth and structure to your beds. And while their beauty may feel delicate, they're surprisingly resilient once they take hold. Bees love to crawl inside the tubular flowers, buzzing with delight, while their stately appearance makes them a centerpiece in any garden design. Foxgloves are biennials, which means they often spend their first year growing leaves and roots and then bloom gloriously in their second year. But don't let that deter you. The anticipation only makes their display more rewarding. Plant them now, give them time to settle in, and by spring or the following season, you'll see why these spires have been treasured in cottage gardens for centuries. Part 6, Bonus Pick. Before we wrap up, I couldn't resist adding one more gem to this list. It's a plant that requires patience but pays off with unmatched elegance: the hosta. For under $10 when started from seed, hostas reward you with lush, sculptural foliage that thrives in shade. Let's explore why they deserve a special mention. 12. Hosta, from seed for patient gardeners. Hostas are the quiet giants of the shade garden, admired not for flashy blooms, but for their stunning sculptural leaves, ranging from soft greens to bold blues and variegated patterns edged in cream or gold. Their foliage creates a living tapestry that transforms dim corners into elegant retreats. For under $10, growing hostas from seed requires patience, but the reward is a plant that returns stronger and fuller every year. What makes hostas so beloved by gardeners is their reliability. Once established, they spread gracefully, filling space with lush texture and calm beauty. Their subtle summer blooms, delicate lavender or white flowers on tall stalks, may not scream for attention, but they quietly attract bees and hummingbirds, adding another layer of life to your garden. For busy gardeners, hostas are nearly effortless. They thrive in shade, tolerate neglect, and only ask for consistent moisture. While seeds take longer to mature than buying a nursery pot, starting now means you'll watch your hostas grow alongside your gardening journey, each season rewarding your patience with bigger, bolder foliage. Plant them this fall, and in the years ahead, you'll have a shade-loving masterpiece that makes your garden feel timeless, serene, and deeply satisfying. Plant now, reap the rewards in spring. So there you have it, friends. 12 incredible perennials you can start right now, each one under $10, all ready to reward your patience with a spring full of life and color. From the pollinator magnets like coneflowers and bee balm, to the cottage garden charm of lupines and daisies, to the low-maintenance survivors like sedum and yarrow, and even the shade treasures like columbine, foxglove, and hosta. This lineup proves that beauty doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. What unites all of these plants is their power to transform your space into something deeply personal. Maybe you're gardening in a big backyard, or maybe you're working with containers on a balcony. Maybe you're brand new to this, or maybe you've been tending plants for years. Either way, planting these seeds now is an act of hope and trust. You're giving nature the time it needs to work its quiet magic, so that come spring, you'll be met with one abundance. And now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 12 perennials excites you most? Do you already have a favorite in your garden, or are you planning to try something new this season? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I always love hearing your stories. And if you found inspiration here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our Earthly Delights community. Together, we'll keep turning simple seeds into extraordinary gardens.